Hey there, my name is Chris Mango, and I'm the creator of Mango Mischief, a satirical, retro-style JRPG that's available for PC on Steam. If you're watching this video, you're about to see me playing my own game, showing off shortcuts and going into detail about the development process and intentions with essentially every aspect of Mango Mischief. So I think it's fair to say spoiler alert. If you'd like to play my game before watching this, the Steam link is in the description. I hope you enjoy my playthrough and commentary. Alright, episode 5, let's get going. We are in Prominence Pass. I'm going to create another save file to represent my 5th episode. Before I jump into the actual gameplay, I just want to point out a new tab, or at least something that's new compared to what the beta testers saw. The overworld map is a tab in the pause menu. This reflects the entire overworld, the entire map of the entire game, although a total of 3 slight adjustments occur throughout the game. In fact, over here, there used to be 6 trees, and then after we talked to the meta reference Mansion Girl, who cut down the paths to lead you back to Lone Gate if you ever want a shorter route, the beginning of the game's overworld map has the trees here. As you can see down here, there is a mountain in the way, which will be eliminated once the Ornithundra breaks down the mountains, which we'll get to by the end of this game. So by the end of this episode, actually, this mountain will be gone. And then for those of you who have completely finished the game, you'll notice that the final location in the game, for the final showdown post-game battle, that is currently not here. But once you do that, if you were to go back into the overworld map, you'd see that that location is now kind of filled in. Anyways, back to Prominence Pass. Now, since I've been moving pretty quickly through the game, these levels are not exactly as high as they would normally be. As you can see here, I still have some level 1 classes in my advanced tiers, so I'm likely to get my butt kicked a little bit if I'm not very careful about the weapons I'm equipping. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to be very, very conscious of the weapons I'm using right now, because there are 2 different types of battles on the right side of this map, and there are 2 other different types of battles on the left side of this map. It's a pretty wide map. We're going to spend a good amount of time in both halves versing quite a few monsters. That way we can get a couple levels for each class. The 2 types of battles on the right side are going to be against thunder enemies and are going to be against light enemies. And so the fact that we gathered a strong ice weapon, which is good against lightning or thunder, and the fact that we gathered a good dark weapon, which is good against light, will be useful here. If you remember, it might have been 2 episodes ago. In the Glacial Grove, we collected an ice weapon and a thunder weapon, and in Snowburbia, in the Snow Town, we collected a dark weapon and a light weapon. These are intentional, not just for back then, but moving forwards, the types of weapons you'll be facing are either going to be super effective against those types of elements, or the same type, which means you'll take less damage. If you're versing a thunder enemy, and you have a thunder weapon on, you'll take less damage than normal from thunder attacks. But if you have an ice weapon, you'll do super effective double damage to thunder enemies. Signpost for Prominence Pass. If knowledge and treasure are what you desire, a journey through Prominence Pass is required. Face all the monsters and solve the conundra while you dodge and you battle with the Ornithundra. You can simply walk past the bird at the end, though his help is something all would recommend. The man in the pink hat at Snowburbia's shop can give you a clue to make the madness stop. Watch out for loot and be sure to describe the word on the plateaus that you see inscribed. Inspect the crannies and explore the nooks. Before long you'll have a container for books. So, the word on the plateaus is, well, as you move to the left, you'll see the word case, C-A-S-E, which is the answer to the Ornithundra's riddle at the end of Prominence Pass. It's also the word that the man in Snowburbia kept repeating over and over again. He's a case manager, and you go on a case-by-case basis, and he just kept using the word case over and over and over again. Plus, if all of that wasn't useful enough information to solving the puzzle, the Ornithundra, when he gives you the riddle, gives you a lot of rhyming words for the word case. And so you can probably figure it out based on even trial and error that the word has to be something that rhymes with case, or ace, or base, or trace, etc. So here are the thunder enemies, the Brontopedes. Given that I have an ice weapon, I'm going to just go for straight up melee damage. Devastation, you'll see some super effectives here. It does a decent job of whittling the health down. Thunder Blind, this can also cause blind, as you can see here. So I am likely to miss if I use some sort of offensive attack. Now that being said, I can use debuffs, like lowering physical defense, magic attack, or physical attack. These debuffs should still generally work, even when blinded. Obviously, there's still a small chance to miss, like in this case, but it wasn't due to the blindness. It was due to just typical RNG. Let's see, as far as Sprig goes, we can just attempt to do strong damage here. Sprig has a dark weapon, so it's not particularly helpful in this case. What else can we use? We can use Lumomancy. I think I'm going to switch, or at least I'm going to check with the weapons that my two mages are equipping as well, just to see if there's any way that they can be a little bit stronger in dealing damage. This isn't really hurting me too much. As you can see, the battles will just take a little bit longer. I'm not really in any danger of immediately dying. Oh, missed again. Double swing. Almost dead there. I should be leveling up within maybe 2 battles. When I switch to, let's use Alacrity, why not? When I switch to a lower level class, like the classes at level 1, it'll make things a little bit more difficult, but still winnable. And I'll gain levels even faster that way too. Let's see if we can just use a good old-fashioned Nutrimancy here. I don't have... Nope, still blinded, that's why. I don't have any ice spells. I don't have Cryomancy on Mero just yet, so it doesn't really matter which element I'm going to cast if it's not an ice attack. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to right off the bat switch to level 1s, just to see exactly how difficult these fights are going to be. Let me check. Brontomancer Staff, that's not particularly helpful. Cryomancer Staff would be more helpful. And so let's switch to Cryomancer Staff. That way a physical attack can at least be super effective if we burst those Brontopedes again, which we probably will. The other type of monster on the right side is a light monster called a Basilux, who is light enchanted, and so you'll want to use dark attacks against them. So either using a dark weapon with a melee attack, or Umbromancy. And here it is right now. Poisoned Light, you see the light icon up there. Light is literally in the name of the attack, Poisoned Light. And on top of that, the name is Basilux. Most of, or as many as possible, most of the enemies have some sort of play on words or reference to their elemental type also. So Lux is specifically a reference to the word light. I'm going to use Umbromancy here, because dark is strong against light. So we did a good amount of damage. As far as Sprig goes, I want to stick to the physical attacks. You can tell by the physical icons here, the swords, that these are physical attacks. Plus, if you select any of them, at the top it says that they're physical attacks here. Physical damage, as opposed to magic. So I tried to make it as explicit as possible, as to whether or not you're about to use a physical move or a magic move. Arak will eventually learn Umbromancy, but it doesn't look like we're there yet. I'm going to use Accentuate on Mero. That way her Umbromancy will do even more damage, because that'll raise the magic attack. I could use a whole bunch of different options. If I use Jeer, if it works, okay. The Poisoned Light, which normally hits all 4 party members, will only hit 1, and we talked a little bit about that last episode too. That was a lot of damage. Critical hit, plus super effective, plus the boost in magic attack. Let's just use a mini thwack here, see if that does enough. Nope. Pretty weak physical attack. Maybe I should have used a magic attack there, because I am using a staff. Let's just use a regular attack. That'll probably be enough. Just barely. And right away we end up moving from level 1 to level 2. Get some new moves. There's the Umbromancy on Arak's side, which will mean that we can make even shorter work of the Basilux. That way Arak and Mero can both use Umbermancy. And I'm pretty sure Mero just learned Lumomancy, the light spell. As I said before, there is some overlap between these mages and the types of spells that they end up using. We could use Devastation. 4 regular attacks. Not amazing, because again, we are underleveled. That just happened to be a normal miss. Frenzy is good if you have a lot of enemies, like if you're versing 4 or 5 or 6 and you want to get a hit off against all of them. But against a single enemy, it's not particularly helpful. Umbermancy. So every time we verse the Basilux, Arak and Mero will essentially just keep spamming their dark attacks. Elite Beat is, I think, finally the first multi-hit move, with the exception of Devastation, of course, that Marion gets. They're 2 strong physical attacks, but there is a little bit of a slow in terms of how long it takes to summon or prepare yourself to use it. So Marion didn't attack right away. Marion has to basically wait a short amount of time, which means sometimes other allies or enemies can attack before her turn. And here's Marion's attack. This is much stronger than her other attacks before. And Double Swing should be good because, again, we are super effective using that dark weapon. Level 3. I'm going to go out through this entire map here because there are quite a few chests. In fact, in this location as well as the Stronghold, which is right after Prominence Pass, there are 2 of every talisman. There's 8 different... there are 8 different status ailments in the game, and if you're ever curious about that, you can always check a staff. Actually, Spellbound Cane. Poison, Blindness, Silence, Rage, Confusion, Charm, Sleep, and Paralysis. If you want to use any protective talisman, it'll make you straight up immune to it. So maybe I want to give Arak the Poison Talisman because I know that the Basilux can cast Poison. Maybe I want to give Mero the Blindness Talisman because she was already blinded by the Brontopedes earlier on. And you can give any character any talisman. Throughout the game, you'll find that some might be more useful than others. In this general area, at least if you're going to fight the Ornithundra, the most important status ailment to be immune to is Sleep, because the Ornithundra, which is a bird monster we'll see towards the end, casts quite a few sleep spells, or casts the sleep spell frequently, I should say. So we'd like to avoid that as much as possible. Being immune to sleep when you know that the enemy's going to be casting sleep a lot will be very, very helpful. I'll probably end up putting the 2 sleep talismans on my 2 mages, on Mero and Arak, just because Arak, I always want to have him awake to heal if need be. And Mero is just so versatile that it's hard to ever turn her away. Make sure she's awake as many times as possible. Although those 2 sleep talismans aren't until the top left of this map. I keep missing because I'm blinded, which is kind of annoying. Something I might want to consider at this point is to maybe remove the blindness by using some sort of, if I have a spell that removes it, or if I have any sort of item that removes it. Do I have one here? Let's see. It doesn't look like I have one yet, which is totally fine. I can do things like casting Alacrity, just to mess with the Brontopedes, which might buy me some time. And in terms of what I have left here, we've got a sleeping Brontopede, and a sleeping and charmed and blinded Brontopede. I think I'll attack this one, because I see that the physical defense is lowered, so it's even more likely for me to do good damage. Also, TP moves aren't affected by blindness, so Redemption isn't going to miss just because I'm blinded here. So, not the most damage ever. Maybe I want to avoid Elite Beat, just because I don't want to accidentally hit the rightmost Brontopede. I actually got hit off, which is nice. Been a while since Marion successfully hit someone. Let's stick with Neutromancy, because again, we don't have a Cryomancy, an ice magic spell just yet, but we will get that soon. If you rearrange the order of the classes that you start to level up, you would get the ice spell faster. You can level up the 4 advanced tier classes in any order you want. I'm just going down the line right now. Alright, there's only 1 enemy left, so let's hopefully deal some damage. Alright, we got 1 attack off. This also makes me think that maybe I should give Marion the blind talisman. Maybe her hits are more important than Mero's hits. This is just the kind of real-time feedback you get as you play through these, especially when you're under-leveled. You kind of have to be a little bit more strategic. Vanquish, Opportunism, Solitude, and Restore. So let's switch the class to the other level 1. Because if we can get them all to level 4 or 5 or 6, we should be in pretty good condition. I'm also going to... I think I'll keep it like this. This should be fine. Because soon I'll be moving into the left side of Prominence Pass. By the way, I know I got this chest down here. You don't need to get this chest first. On the way back when we exit this map, we'll end up going around this area. And so you can always pick up both chests at the same time. I'm going to eat my words now by getting blinded with Marion, of course. Let's see if that actually hits. And let's just cast Startle on someone. Vanquish is a stronger than normal attack. Again, he's not holding an ice weapon. Oh, that was good. I got both attacks off, although it wasn't against the enemy that had a lower defense, physical defense, but that's okay. I'll take the hits given that I'm blinded. I'll move this one too. And even though I'm blinded, I'm going to use Devastation, which again will be guaranteed hits here. So now we're doing some good damage. Nice. And let's use a double swing, because now I know I'm going to hit this individual twice. Elite Beat would be nice if it works, but who knows? And we'll do double swing again. If Elite Beat hits even once, this will take down the Brontopede, but it did not hit. I'm keeping an eye on my HP. Arax is a little low, but it doesn't really matter. We should be leveling up either, well, probably this, after this battle. And if not, I can always heal outside of battle. Regular attack should do the trick. And level 2. Just holding out spacebar to cruise through the end of battle rewards screens. We're going to be making our way towards the left side of Prominence Pass now, which means we'll be finding 2 other types of battles. The Brontopedes and Basilux will be gone, and we'll be versing other characters. I do want to make sure I'm picking up all the talismans along the way. It never hurts to explore every single nook and cranny. So here, this is a Dark-type monster and a Light-type monster, and you can even see the icons. Vertebrake and Vertebrew. So here the most useful will be Light and Dark weapons and spells. I should have switched Marion's weapon from the Ice weapon, which I was using on the right half of the map, to the Light weapon that I also picked up in Snowburbia. We'll focus on this light one first, mainly because Sprig can do dark damage, dark physical damage, because of his weapon. So, rather than me using Double Swing, which does random damage, I'm going to use Vanquish, which is a strong physical attack on an enemy that I get to select. And we can see we're doing a good amount of damage, despite, again, being, what, level 2, 3? I'm going to switch to Umbromancy now that Iraq has Umbromancy. I didn't necessarily need to use this, a little bit of overkill here, but that's fine. So these battles are not particularly difficult if you're equipped properly. And equipping yourself properly is something I was trying to elicit, at least if you care about moving through the game pretty fast. If you're the type who just likes to kind of roam around and grind here and there to make sure you're kind of at least at level or perhaps a little over level in an area, which is usually me too, then the weapons you're using won't really matter quite as much. But if you're trying to run through this game as quickly as possible, rotating between the weapons in the right spots can really make a huge difference between how long battles take. So as I said before, I'm going to equip her Gleam Dagger, which is now light imbued. Physical attacks are light imbued, and any light damage received is reduced by 25%. So not only will this be great against the dark enemy, but when the light enemy uses a light attack on Marion, she'll take a little bit less damage. Here's the Ornithundra on the left. You do not need to actually face the Ornithundra. If you've played through this game before and you remember the paths based on the puzzle that the Ornithundra gives you, you can just skip all the Ornithundra battles. I'm going to burst the Ornithundra just to show you how that's done and just to go over the puzzle again. But there's nothing wrong with you skipping them entirely if you don't need to. Let's use Alacrity. These Cloud Creepers are wind imbued, which can be annoying. I have Basalt Assault, which does earth damage. We'll see if that's any good. I'm pretty weak on the magic attack right now, and I missed, so it doesn't really matter. But you might want to consider using anything related to earth against these wind-type monsters. And you'll be able to tell they're wind because up here, Zephyrosity, Zephyr and Ferocity, has the wind icon up there. Another thing that I like about this is they do hit you 4 times, which can take a little while. However, 4 hits from each means 8 hits per round, and that really ramps up your TP if you specifically have Team Player on. This is why I tend to leave Team Player on for most of the game, because as you verse harder and harder enemies, you're more likely to verse enemies that hit multiple times. And so Team Player can really start to ramp up your TP count. Let's see. I could also accentuate Sprig, because I know his Basalt Assault didn't really do that much damage, to the point where you might want to consider switching to a physical attack. But let's see if increasing the magic attack plays a significant difference. And just as I say that, of course, Sprig gets silenced, which is kind of frustrating, because now we can't use any of those skills. Let's use Devastation. I was kind of hoping that one Cloud Creeper died. When you're silenced, you can't use any skills at all. This entire tab is nullified, including your TP move. What can I do then? I can just use a regular attack. Not ideal, obviously. There are, of course, ways to get rid of silence. Articulation removes silence from all enemies. From all allies. Also, I might have Honey Tea, which removes silence from one ally. I'll use that. Hopefully, Sprig doesn't get silenced again during the Cloud Creeper's next attack, but we'll see what happens. Alright. Geomancy. I'd like to see Sprig attack one more time. Okay, so let's use... Well, we'll have Elite Beat. Okay. Let's see how much damage Basalt Assault would do. Either way, it should kill. Okay, that's a lot of damage, because the magic attack was boosted, which is validating for me, because I definitely want the buffs to be meaningful. I want the buffs and the nerfs to battle stats to be influential enough that players will actually consider using them, as opposed to thinking to themselves, well, rather than me wasting a turn increasing the attack, let me just do another attack. It took me a while to balance the buffs and the nerfs just right, but I think I did a pretty good job. So that buffing your allies or nerfing your enemies will be a significant strategy. And now we're back here. So we'll go to, let's see, Marion has a light weapon. So I'm going to attack the Dark Skelebeast. In fact, I'll just keep attacking the Dark Skelebeast first. As far as Sprig goes, he's got a dark weapon. So I'm going to attack the light one. Sometimes it makes sense to do something like this, where you're splitting your attacks across multiple enemies, in terms of kind of maximizing the amount of damage you can do over time. In other situations, it might not be useful. Maybe the strategy is to just kill off one as soon as possible, that way you just have to worry about one of them instead of two. So again, it's up to you how you want to verse these enemies. I'm focusing more on the Dark Skelebeast with my spellcasters, mainly because Sprig is clearly very strong at handling the Light Skelebeast, mostly on his own right now. So you can see here, they're pretty much at the same level of health left. So let's start to finish them off. These enemies also buff each other, as well as nerf your team. As you can see here, there's a lot of nerfs on your side and a lot of buffs on their side, and that's due to some of the attacks they've been doing. And this should be enough. Let's see. Okay, great. Level 5. Out of habit, I tend to level up my classes roughly at the same rate. So I'll oftentimes alternate between different classes. I'm pretty sure that the next level where I gain skills is level 7. So whether these are level 5 or 4 right now, it doesn't really matter. I want to get them all to level 7 though. That way I can benefit from 4 additional skills. The more skills you have, the better it is. Here's one of the sleep talismans. The other sleep talisman is up here, so you have to go all the way around. These are the 2 most important talismans if you're going to be versing the Ornithundra, because the Ornithundra's main status ailment of choice is putting your party to sleep. So we are going to continue grinding through these enemies. We're not going to escape any battles, although if you ever need to, you can just press the escape button. Or you could right-click with your mouse, or press whatever back button on the controller you're using. But I do want to level up a little bit. I'm not going to go out of my way to grind a lot, because I don't want to waste anyone's time and get them super, super bored. And so we'll see how well we fare throughout most of this game without really spending any time grinding for like a half hour or an hour. We're just going to casually make our way through the entire map, and if we verse an enemy, so be it. We'll take that experience and whatever loot they drop. So you notice here, I'm pretty comfortable with the skills I'm using against these 2 individuals. Since I have Command Remember on, the last skill I selected is already still activated, so I can just kind of press spacebar a whole bunch of times if I want to just keep attacking with the same attack over and over again. I do have to direct with my mouse which enemy I'm attacking if there are multiple enemies left. Here's the A in the word case. I know I mentioned the word case earlier on. I haven't really been pointing that out, but CASE can be seen in this map. In fact, right now I'm on the C, the big C here. If I were speedrunning this game, I would just completely skip the Ornithundra, because I already know the answer to the puzzle that he's going to ask. But I am going to go out of my way to gather every single chest in advance, even though, again, when I escape Prominence Pass, I'm going to make my way through this area. These mountains will be gone, so I can walk all the way around. Because this is a pretty long map, and I kind of wanted to make it a little bit easier for the player to leave Prominence Pass without having to backtrack throughout the entire maze. As I pointed out before, these enemies are a great way to increase your TP. Not a ton of damage, that's okay. Geomancy should be a little bit stronger because we're against wind enemies. I'd say that's pretty darn good. Basalt Assault, we saw this was a little bit on the weaker side, but when I cast Accentuate on Sprig, that'll make him stronger of an Earth Mage. And again, the TP will be increasing whenever a different ally gets hit. So you'll see Marion's TP will go up every time Sprig or Marrow or Rack take damage. And again, we've got the same issue with a Honey Tea situation here. Nice. I'm going to actually use Basalt Assault on this one, because I think I'll do more than 600 damage. Okay, I didn't want to waste an extra 500 points of damage. Now the downside is, this Cloud Creeper will get off another round of attacks, but that's okay because I do want to make sure my TP is essentially maxed for when I do verse the Ornithundra. Let's use Meta Thwack. Not great, because Iraq is using a staff, as opposed to a stronger physical attack weapon. Let's see if Marion ends up hitting this Cloud Creeper at all. My TP is pretty much all the way back to 100. Nice, that worked out pretty well. And let's just go ham with the Geomancy and the Basalt Assault. Let's switch to a magic attack there, not a physical attack. That way I can do a little bit more damage on average. 6, okay, one more and I'll get to level 7. And I'm just going to make my way around the perimeter here, just so I can get the other Sleep Talisman, because that is the other talisman I really want to make sure I'm using. Obviously, it doesn't hurt to gather all the chests here. I tried to make the random encounter rate reasonable enough, so that you verse a decent number of enemies if you're going to explore the whole map, but if you're purposely trying to race through a region, you don't get killed with a ton of enemies all at once. Maybe I'll end up versing like one more battle. Okay. This will get me to level 7, so I'll get another skill. Mero and Sprig are silenced. That is not good. However, Iraq is not silenced, which will be helpful. I'm going to use Jeer on one of these. Hopefully it'll work. I can't do much here, but... well, I'll guard. That way I'll take less damage, and I regain a whole bunch of stuff. I'll guard here too. What I really want to use is Iraq's Articulation. Remove silence from all allies. This should never miss. Hopefully I don't eat my words right now. Silence, all gone. Super, super helpful. Costs a good amount of MP. So you have to kind of be aware of how much magic you have left if you're not leveling up in a turn or two. But it doesn't hurt to be able to do something like that. I'm also going to use Jeer on this one, because if I can reduce them both to only hitting once, that'd be great. Oops. I messed up there. I pressed guard. Again, see, each of these are only hitting once because they're enraged. Let's accentuate Mero, because at the end of the day, Mero really does do more damage, even than Sprig. Do I want to reuse Jeer? I could. I could use Jeer again. There is a small chance that the status ailment misses, like casting Rage, or casting Poison, or casting Silence. But if I can just keep these enraged, it really neuters the enemies. So I can really focus on hitting them hard. Maybe this... I don't know if Basalt Assault will be strong enough to kill, but let's see what happens. Almost. Let's use Lumimancy. Maybe that finishes off this Cloud Creeper. Nice. There's only one left. Let's just stick to physical damage here. The Rage is gone, which can be annoying, but it's 4-on-1 right now, plus I'm dealing a good amount of magic damage, assuming it hits. You can still miss. Most of your physical attacks, or magic attacks, have about a 90 to 95% chance of hitting. Once in a while, you'll get a few misses, but more often than not, you're likely to hit. Iraq is silenced. Obviously, that means Iraq cannot use Articulation to remove silence from himself. Let's just do a physical attack, just to finish off the Cloud Creeper. We've got 100 TP with everyone. We've got a nice level 7, Technoslash, Ensnare, Technomancy, and another Technomancy. You'll see those skills as we progress through the game. I don't need to heal because I just grew a level, but I am going to save right here. And we're going to verse the Ornithundra. The Ornithundra is at least Wind type, but I don't have an Earth weapon. But that's okay. Also, Ornithundra is Thunder type, so I do want to switch... not this weapon, this weapon. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. This is Thunder Imbued, so I actually do want to switch this weapon to Ice, because this should be super effective. Now, I also want to make sure that Mero and Iraq can't be put to sleep. It actually doesn't really matter who I'm selecting. I'm actually going to make Marion resistant or immune to sleep. Because I'm figuring here, if Marion's always awake, she can always cast good ice damage. And if Mero's always awake, she can always cast good ice or earth damage as well. So let's see how this goes. Now I'm going to save again, because I save like every 10 seconds normally. Hello, humans. I haven't seen a person in quite some time, ever since the man who is scouting Prominence Pass returned to Snowburbia. This is a reference to the case manager, by the way. Only the most experienced and seasoned of veterans make it all the way over here. You can talk. Indeed I can. I also possess something you desire. Is it another important item that the king and his caravan wanted? Yes. They traveled here and asked for it, but they could not access it. Would you mind letting us have the item? Only if you prove yourselves worthy. You must pass my 3 trials, only then will you earn the item. Do you wish to start my trials? Let's go. The first trial is a riddle. Again, the answer is case. Answer it correctly and you will pass. Answer it incorrectly and you will die. I believe it procs a game over, which can be annoying, especially if you didn't just save. Here it is. Prominence Pass is a wonderful place. Its protruding word you need to embrace. Spelling it out can be at your own pace, but be mindful of the caravan you chase. My eastern signpost has left a small trace of the intel that I would never debase. The man in Snowburbia's shop is an ace, an expert in the Prominence Pass space. The king is missing and you seek his grace, hence these 3 trials that you face. Spell out the word you cannot erase. The answer to this riddle is... I think I figured out enough rhyming words there. C-A-S-E. Ka-ching. Correct. The word is case. 1 trial down, 2 to go. Alright, we got this. So far, so good. You're going to have to do better than that if you want to stop us, Birdbrain. For the second trial, I will obliterate you. And now we go into a boss... Well, not really a boss battle. There's no boss music. He does a good amount of damage, though. And remember, this is the level 7 class. So, we definitely want to make sure we're around level 5, 6, 7. It takes a little while. These are all super effective hits, and not even down to 3/4 yet. I don't have an ice move to go against the thunder, but if I remember correctly, he's also wind. So Geomancy should do pretty well. Another super effective. So now the question is, do I want to use Basalt Assault or Vanquish? Because Vanquish is a good strong physical attack. Basalt is a slightly weaker, yet super effective attack. Let's see if Basalt Assault is worth it. Not terrible. In the meantime, I'm going to use Accentuate on either I'll use it on Mero, because she's the one casting magic attacks. It would be kind of silly to use it on Marion, who's using physical attacks. Swan Song, that's what puts people to sleep. Arak is asleep. Stick to Elite Beat, because it's about as strong of a physical attack as I can use right now. And we'll stick to Geomancy. That seems to be pretty good. Okay, halfway dead. As far as Sprig goes, I could empower Marion to do even more damage. But it seems like a double swing will be fine in terms of physical damage. And really, it wasn't that great, actually. Sprig had woken up because Sprig got attacked while Sprig was sleeping. Let's use a mini heal on himself. Not a huge deal, but we're just going to really play it safe here. And between these 2 attacks, that should probably be fine. Marrow might... Okay. Rumblitz, there's a Thunder move, which again tells you to attack with something super effective to Thunder, which is Ice. That is enough. And we won. Didn't disappear, and that's fine. Impressive. That was pretty easy for a boss fight. Well, we keep getting stronger. That was just regular battle music, so I don't think Ornithunder's a boss. I believe there is a 3rd trial. The 3rd trial is down the stairs inside the Stronghold. The Stronghold? Indeed. The Stronghold is a fortress surrounded by mountains. It contains the treasure you seek. If the king's item is in the Stronghold, then why the heck do we need to pass your first 2 trials? You didn't need to pass them. So we just waste our time for nothing? No. You have earned a clue to help you navigate the Stronghold, and if you haven't played the game before, you'll see why that's so important. Here it is. Go for the gold, but don't be greedy. You must be well-read, too. And for the second set of rooms, well-read plus slightly blue. So here you've got to play on words of red and red. You'll see that gold bars, not all the gold bars, but a good amount of gold bars and books will provide you some clues, as well as mostly red with a little bit of blue. That'll add some more context once we actually get to the Stronghold. Thank you for the clue. That's a lot to remember. What if we forget the clue? You can always ask me to repeat myself. Of course, it would also be convenient if there was some magic way to revisit your recent backlog of conversations. So, obligatory reminder, pressing the B button shows you your backlog of conversations. Here it is. Go for the gold, but don't be greedy. Here's the entire puzzle again, or the entire clue. If you go to your options and the keyboard controls, keyboard configuration, B is your backlog. So you can actually scroll through previous things that have been said. But we're just going to focus on the clue for now. I'm going to heal one more time, because I was a little bit weak from that attack. And now we're up to the stronghold. This mountain will disappear. Signpost. You can brute force your way through the stronghold, but that strategy may be more silly than bold. In Prominence Past, there was a lone bird, and ignoring his trials may prove quite absurd. So again, a reference to saying, look, if you're getting lost in here, maybe you should fight that Ornithundra and figure out what the clue is actually alluding to, or what the clues are actually alluding to, because there's 2 levels here, there's 2 floors. So inside the stronghold, there are a lot of potential rooms. Now, there are 16 rooms here. 15 of them lead you to an Ornithundra, where you're forced to do another battle and you can't even escape. One of these rooms will get you to the next floor. And the room that gets you to the next floor is based on the assets, the objects that you see here below. So remember, the beginning of the puzzle was go for the gold, but don't be greedy. Where is it? Let me scroll back. Go for the gold, but don't be greedy. You must be well read too. So as far as gold goes, you'll see on the left here there's silver bars, and on the right here there's gold bars. It says go for the gold, so it'll be on the right half of this, but don't be greedy. So there's 3 gold bars along these 4 options. There are 4 gold bars along these 4 options. So we're looking specifically in this zone. This is going for the gold, but not being too greedy on the gold. You must be well read too. Well read, R-E-A-D, tells us to look for books. And so this is the staircase to get us to the next level. And for the second set of rooms, well read, R-E-D, but slightly blue. So here we've got 3 different types of colors. We've got blue, we've got red, we've got kind of a goldish, orangey thing, and some tan. Well read, but slightly blue means mostly red, and only a little bit of blue, which is right here. Well read, but slightly blue. And so this actually is the path leading you to the chest, which gives us the next key item for our quest for the king. Strong slipcase obtained. This binds magic. And so now we'll see the cutscene that continues to extend further. You need to go again? Already? But you just got home from your last trip. Do you really have to leave so soon? Yes, I do. But Mom... Marion, that's enough. How many times do I need to hammer it into you? I'm sorry, I just miss you, that's all. I understand, but sometimes you need to just bottle up your emotions and put on a brave face. Don't let your feelings flare up and control you. I know, I know. I wish you could stay longer, though. Me too, but you know I can't. You know I have an obligation to the king. You have an obligation to your daughter, too. When I see you, I get so happy, but then you leave again and again, and it's like I'm being knocked over by a never-ending tidal wave. Mary, you need to be strong. Strong, Slipcase. Your father and I gave you my name to remind you to stay focused and not slip up. Sharing your name with me isn't as important as sharing your time with me. Dad left. You're never around. Hi, Iraq. How is your... You got me flowers, roses, lilies, and hammer orchids, my favorites. Iraq, your kindness and thoughtfulness always shine so brightly. You really know how to lift someone up when they're feeling blue. We should talk about our plans for tomorrow. Is there a theme you had in mind? Perhaps an idea, an inkling, a notion? If you could create a title for tomorrow's story, what would it be? Every day can be a brand new adventure, especially when sharing it with people you care about. We should bring plenty of supplies on our adventure, in case we need them. It's a good thing you're strong. I'm so excited I can hardly contain myself. The strong slipcase contains, as in binds or holds, magic. I know that you're looking forward to spending a day out and about, too. Again, I'm going to hold down spacebar to make this move along a little bit faster, because it's the animations. I have nothing to read here just yet. Some fire from the Everflame. Well, a reference to the Everflame, not that it's blue. Phew, those baddies were so stubborn and so rude. Are the monsters gone? Did they all run away? Yep, They took a bow and jumped ship as soon as they saw the explosions. Your strength saved us all. Aren't you upset that they still gave me the slip, though? I mean, the baddies did get away. Even if that were the case, Old Providence Town is still safe thanks to you. What's your name? I'm Marrow. Nice to meet you. And here's Sprig. Good afternoon, Sprig. Good afternoon, Your Majesty. What brings you into the armory? It is time for Edel to pass the torch to you. Come. Wait, sir. What is it, Sprig? Sir, with all due respect, I don't think I deserve a new title. I haven't proven myself yet. Sprig, I know I'm stern with you, but it's because I have confidence in you. And you prove your worth every day that you serve this kingdom and my family. I care deeply for this kingdom, sir. I see that. You are strong and wise and reliable, and you rarely slip up. Again, strong, slip, case. When it comes to all my defenders, you are a unique case. You are a good leader, and you absolutely do deserve a promotion. And we're back in here. Every other room, or attempt to walk into a room, will spawn an Ornithundra. In fact, you can't even walk into the other rooms, and Ornithundra will pop out. Like so. You chose wrong. So now you're forced into a battle with another Ornithundra. Even if you try to escape, you're stuck. You have to fight it out. Which isn't the worst thing in the world. You'll gain some experience. But at the same time, it might be a waste if you're trying to just get through the area. You can see here Marrow still lost some... Oh, Marrow just took some damage. Marion's about to attack with her physical attack. And so, in the meantime, I'm going to empower Marion so she does even more. Because, remember, Sprig's physical didn't really do that much. Or the magic didn't really do that much. But here we go, look at that. Boom. And, I could heal Marrow. I could have made her magic attack stronger. I could have attempted to nerf the Ornithundra. Like, if I lower the Ornithundra's physical defense, then physical attacks will do even more. Looks like Marion is going to be able to do a ton of damage on her own, too, with the Elite Beat. I could use, like, Redemption if I want to. I'll use Basalt Assault. Not that it's great. But sometimes 500 HP is all you need. Although this is overkill anyway. That is enough. Hit up that level 8. Very nice. Any other room would still, or any other path, would still proc another Ornithundra. If I go back down here, I make it into a wrong room, but I'm still forced to fight. I'm going to change my class to a level 4 class, just to see how different it ends up being between fighting as level 4 versus fighting as level 5. So this is a wrong room. You go into the room, and then it says, again, you chose wrong. These Ornithundra don't disappear, and I guess if you find it easy to kill these Ornithundra, or maybe they just die really quickly, in your opinion, then you might want to consider kind of grinding here if you think that's important. But I'm not going to be spending a lot of time grinding here. In fact, this will probably be my last battle of the episode. Let's empower Marion again. We'll use the same strategy. Let's actually accentuate Marrow this time. I'm not really worried about either of them dying, but you never know. Oh, okay. That happens sometimes. Swan Song. We'll stick to the Elite Beat there. As far as Sprig goes, I mean, we could cast a Revive. I do have 10 of them. Given that I'm trying to advertise that items can be useful, it would be a little silly if I never, ever use an item. Especially since, remember, your items max out at 10 stock. So if you have 10 Revives, even if you win more, you're not going to be able to keep them. So you might as well use an item if you already are at the item cap of 10. So like any of these would be fine if you're worried about dying. I'm just going to use a regular attack, because I'm stronger physically, and I didn't want to have to wait for anyone else to go. That is enough. Cool. So another level up there. And again, it's mainly because my weapons are equipped just right. So I'm going to make my way outside of Prominence Pass. This mountain range, or this little big mountain there, will disappear once I speak to the Ornithundra. So if I ever want to go back to the stronghold, I can. pretty easily without having to go through Prominence Pass again. I wonder what that Ornithundra will say once we show him the strong slipcase. I think we should talk with him since we're here anyway. This part can't be avoided, because I do want to make sure that the mountains are opened up. I see you have acquired your treasure. I will not stand in your way any longer. Actually, you didn't stand in our way at all. Talking to you was completely optional. We could have totally avoided you. Fair enough. You haven't yet realized that I have moved mountains for you. Is that some kind of metaphor or something? No, I mean it literally, just to make your return easier. A return? More paths are available to you now if you wish to leave Prominence Pass or ever return to the stronghold. Wow, thanks. Where are these other paths? That is for me to know and for you to eventually find out if you put in the effort. Good luck. The strong slipcase has been completed. So if you go to the overworld map, you'll see that now the mountain is gone. Because it actually is. So when you take the boat, you can, if you want to, you can come in through here if you ever want to go through the stronghold again. The only reason why you'd want to do that would be if you wanted to verse some more Ornithundra. This is also open. There used to be a mountain here. In case you miss a treasure chest, this is open too. And then finally, as I mentioned at the very beginning, you can just go right around the chests. You can pick them up if you miss them, and you can basically exit Prominence Pass without even needing to do another battle, which is kind of nice. You could obviously still grind out experience there if you want to, but we have the strong slipcase now. The strong slipcase allows us to deal with any magic that was blocking us from getting into certain paths. So let me show you one example. At the very beginning of the game with Iraq, we saw this over here, and now it's gone. You can always hold spacebar to make the lights flash and disappear a little bit faster as well. Our strong slipcase is binding the magic. Exalted Helm, Diviner's Hat, Refined Fedora, and Dazzling Circlet obtained. These are pretty good headgear pieces. I don't think I have these yet. You can see here Sorcerer's Hat versus Diviner's Hat. Diviner is the stronger version of the Sorcerer's Hat. So you can upgrade each of your headgear to the next level by just clicking on this one chest. So let's maybe use Exalted Helm here. I'm just going to change each one. Let's say we do Refined Fedora. Let's say we do Diviner's Hat and Dazzling Circlet. Oops. So these are all the strongest versions now. Let me just check one other thing. I'm noticing that there was one thing I could have got back in Snowburbia that I didn't get. I don't think I had the money for it at the time. I definitely do now, I'm pretty sure. I think there's a stronger set of weapons for my mages I could have gotten. At the very, very bottom is a staff that's actually not imbued by any of the elements. It's called the Resistance Rod. This is not specifically any element. It won't let you do more fire damage or water damage or anything like that. But if you look at the stats, comparatively, it's the next tier of magic weapon, in the same way that these other weapons, like Hatchet, then Tomahawk, then Crash Axe. Crash Axe is the tier above Tomahawk, Gloom Sword is the tier above Espadon, etc. So I could get, let's say, 2 Resistance Rods, just in case I want to equip Marrow with a stronger weapon, especially if we're focusing on magic attacks. And same with Iraq. You can do this before, you can do this after, you can always backtrack and get other items as well. That won't hurt. Having stronger weapons won't hurt. I'm going to do... There are some fairy quests I can do soon. I'm going to wait until I get the Arcane Spellbook, which I'll be doing next. If you're ever curious about the general regions you should walk back to once you get the Arcane Spellbook, this individual will give you the list. Looks like you got yourself a boat. Like all future transportation, the boat will help you visit new lands, and it'll help you backtrack when you want to revisit places. For example, if you ever want to visit Icer Range, which we just did, the Northeast Forest, there's another kind of magic wall or boundary stopping us from getting into there. Lone Gate or the Loot's Daycare. And of course, I hope you've been picking mangoes and giving them to everyone who asks for one. There haven't been any mangoes in this episode. There will be next episode, though. You can also go to the right if you want, or to the left. And I think we're going to end this episode right at the next region, which is over here. Right, here we go. Here we go. I was hit a little snag there. Gonna save. If we were to go into this area, you can see here we wouldn't be able to make it through this magic force field. Because we didn't have the strong slipcase at the time. But now that we have the strong slipcase, thanks to making our way through the stronghold, we can bind the magic and make our way into this little area here, which is what we will do next time. For now, I'm just going to read the signpost, go into this house, and then we'll call it a day. Insistence, persistence, and steadfast consistence, magic resistant, is subsistence for existence. Exploiting the elements will grant you assistance in traveling the deceivingly short-looking distance. We will heal. We're going to go through the final dialogue here in the Mage's Refuge. Here's the Mage's house. What? Who are you? Wem. Okay, what are you? Mage. Wem, have you seen the king or his caravan recently? Yes. Were they looking for anything? Yes. Could you tell us what they were looking for? Book. Did you have the book they were looking for? No. Do you know where we can find it? Yes. Where? I'm sorry, I was just messing with you guys. It gets really lonely out here. In fact, a lot of players don't even get this far. Players? What are you talking about? So you can actually speak more than one word at a time? Hold on a second. What players are... Yes, I can. A few days ago, one of the king's servants stopped by and asked me about his spellbook. I used to have that book, but I lost it southwest of here. Whoops. Are we all just going to ignore the fact that this guy is actually capable of changing his facial expression? What are the chances that this special spell book is just casually lying on the ground and not being guarded by a giant monster? Well, you're partially right. It's not guarded by a single big monster. It's actually being guarded by a swarm of elemental monsters. It sounds like we'll need to be prepared with high magic defense. And we'll need to beat up those baddies by attacking with whatever elements they're weak against. So again, when we verse a fire elemental, we'll use water, a water elemental will use fire, etc. The spellbook contains arcane spells, so only a strong slipcase would be able to contain it. Fortunately, we've got one. That's what we just obtained. I have some gear that might help too. Great, that way we'll be in tip-top shape. If any of you are interested in buying my elemental necklaces, let me know. Now, you traditionally won't have a ton of gold to spend on this. Maybe you'll have a couple thousand, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000. You're not going to be able to buy 4 of each of these in the early game. But the good news is when you do wield one, or when you are wearing one, all the damage you received from that element is reduced by 50%, which is a lot in this game. I am going to specifically get 4 water necklaces, because after this region, in the next region, which I guess will be maybe 1 or 2 episodes from now, we'll be versing a sea captain and his 2 sea crewmates, which means they'll be doing some water damage as a boss battle, and so I want to make sure I'm super prepared against that. So this is just kind of planning ahead. I'm going to purposely equip a water necklace for each of my players, each of my allies. Keep in mind, if I want to scroll through fast, I can just press page up and page down. So I'm pretty set. As far as the weapons I'm using, doesn't really matter that much. Mainly use Crash Act, where I've got resistance rods. I'm using the resistance rods here because they're all around just better at doing magic. But this is where we will end today. Next episode, we will make our way to the left here, and we'll deal with what it looks like when you have too many random encounters. We'll leave it at that, and then the game will change as a result. So we're going to save one last time, and then another time. It says 10 hours of playtime, even though this timer is much faster than the actual number of hours I've been playing this game. I think it's like half of this, or maybe it's like 40% or something. Anyways, I will see you for episode 6. Take care. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more clips about Mango Mischief, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. The Steam link for my game, as well as all Mango Mischief social media links, are posted in this video's description. I think you'll enjoy my satirical, retro-style, turn-based JRPG, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments section below. Thanks!